Hi everybody, welcome to my module. This is my introductory video for EDL 851, Module 1. So my name is Michelle and I have prior work history as a soldier in the United States Army. I did that for 5 years and I was a mental health specialist. So I ran clinics and I worked inside of clinics. Then I transitioned through a few other things and I ended up teaching as a 2014 Teach for America Corps member. And my work history as a teacher has been as an English language arts teacher for 3 years and a CLDE instructor for 1 year. I've taught from 8th grade all the way up to 12th grade. I think I probably favor the 8th graders. They're a lot of fun. So my values, I think, are pretty aligned with a lot of values around urban education. So I value equity, opportunity, I value rigor in the classroom, I rigor happiness, and I definitely value humor in the classroom. My goals are to be an administrator within by the school year after this one and to be credentialed. I hope to stay in urban education. I think it fits really well with my personality. So moving on to some of the other topics in Module 1, we can talk about how my school facilitates the use of appropriate content-based learning material and learning strategies for students with special needs. So when I first started out, we used a process called RTI, or Response to Intervention, in order to identify students that might need a higher echelon of services. And then we transitioned over to a different type of system called MTSS. And if I'm being honest, I don't even know what it stands for. But I was on both of those teams where I learned a lot about how to identify students that might not have already been identified, and how to provide accommodations, what they look like. At my school right now, we use MTSS, and since it's a high school, a lot of the students have already been identified, but we still catch students at the higher grade levels every now and then. To a broader degree, the school facilitating the use of appropriate content-based learning materials and learning strategies, I think is a little bit lacking, but a lot of it comes down to getting the students IEPs or a list of their accommodations, and I've gotten both. It hasn't been sort of a standard procedure. Sometimes I get a whole packet, and sometimes I just get like this packet of accommodations that a student needs. And I would say the best thing that my school does is it has a lot of really great SPED teachers that check in with all of the other teachers to ensure accommodations are being administered. And then, of course, my school also provides some sheltered classes and then some not. So moving forward, if I had a critique of my own personal use or non-use of appropriate strategies and learning materials, it would be definitely there was a learning curve. It's always harder at the beginning of the year because you don't have the accommodations like almost memorized for each kid. So I think I used sort of a shotgun method in all of the super frequent or super common accommodations. I just try to provide all the time, such as like visuals, graphic organizers, or notes for the class. What's really helped, and I think what I really learned probably this year and maybe the last year, was talking frequently with SPED teachers really helps because they sort of hold you accountable. It's somebody that you can check in after you've tried something with a student, and they are the biggest advocate in the school for anybody with an IEP. It can be hard to provide tons of accommodations if you have a lot of SPED kids. But one thing that I really realize is that it's a legal requirement, and I know a lot of school systems have been sued over not providing accommodations or not providing contact hours. So it's a huge, huge legal issue. You definitely have to do it right. There's not another option. So as for that, I think I am really, really diligent in that regard because I know there's huge legal ramifications if you don't follow what's in the IEP. If I had to pick some things that would help improve or enhance Sierra's current practices, it would be to monitor referral rates to make sure SPED kids are not disproportionately being referred for behavioral reasons. It would be to have SPED teachers conduct spot observations just like administrators do and give teachers feedback on whether or not they're seeing accommodations provided in the right way. And it would be having student-teacher conferences at the beginning of the year, so that way students have a chance to self-advocate as well. This has been my rundown of Module 1. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're off to a great start.